so cool. This is like in the shade. I'm working on a big picture story like about legislation.
No, we're going to be talking out here to you as a break.
Oh, okay. I'm on board.
Yep.
Just so.
Okay, I'm going to stand up here with my buddy.
Loud in the gallery.
Yeah, I'm live streaming it for the media.
I got to remove all 500.
I couldn't hear anything he was saying. My microphone turned out.
We'll let you
Hey, John.
You got kicked out. Come forward.
Let's get the sun right behind us.
Only your mom. Your mom?
That's Georgia. Sorry.
Just trying to get close to that.
We have so many people here. It's blocking the road, okay?
Hell, I should have brought more buses. I didn't know that. We should at least triple this
Guys are on a hot mic. What time was it? 9:30. You're on a hot mic.
Hot sweat.
Well, don't turn it off now.
Well, we had it already ready. Yeah, that's good.
Started like 5 minutes now. Yeah, I was interested. I think it's one of those things where people are going to be like, and I mentioned to.
Yeah, that's always there's always this kind of, don't know, it really started seeming like I guess we don't.
Anybody out the road? Back, fill it on the side. Block the road. And you can go on the other side. Block the road. One side of the sidewalk to the other. Oh, yeah.
What's that? Yeah, that's all I'm doing.
All right, there. Ooh, now we can hear me good. I don't have to yell. All right, everybody. So we're doing a great job here. We don't want to be blocking the road. They're bringing in vehicles to set up for the governor's inauguration. So pick one side of the sidewalk or the other. On this side, we can be up on the step, be on the grass. Don't go into the garden. Okay. We've officially hit overflow crowd. Okay. That's the word of the day. Overflow crowd. Now, the other thing here, this is a press conference. It's not going to be a rally. If we turn this into a rally, we're going to get in trouble. We have permission for a press conference, not for a rally. So, when our speakers are done, you can give them a great cheer and a clap just like you just did. But we're not going to be hooting and hollering and chanting back and forth and stuff like that, all right? So make sure we're keeping the road clear. Pick one side of the sidewalk or the other. Overflow crowd, right?
Nate.
Come on, Nate, get in here. No, Nate, shots line. Right here. Yeah! Everybody's got a good shot here. I'll be out of the way once we get going. The podium's where you want to be looking at.
Hey, Julian, go ahead and step up front so you can record too. Thank you, sir. That's my LD. Thank you.
This guy, you're blocking our camera. The party's camera here.
That's the party
Yeah,
one?
we got one on this side and one on the other side. That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Sergio, I know I met you at convention, but
They're gonna be able to get up the
in case
street.
you need something else now during session, things like that. Yes. We got cards for everybody
Yeah,
here.
it'll be archived.
Okay, I'm sorry.
David, I know you called me already, but that's how you can get a hold of me if you need it. So many things happen all the time. Email I can get back. I have a record of. I can get back to you. Yeah, no problem. Yes, pull up tight. This will your boy here come out. So just watch out for that.
No.
Right on the nose.
Ma'am, you slide over. You're in our camera. You.
I'm gonna sit down when it starts. I'm sitting
She's
down.
gonna sit down when it's done.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then yeah, David, just watch out for this here. We're live streaming this way.
Oh, yeah.
See that? Waiting on Representative Harris. I know he's here. I saw the picture, but I didn't see him. Once he's here, he'll work his way up. I haven't seen him. I've not seen him yet. I know he's here. I've seen pictures of him here, but I have not seen him here physically.
It's not, I'm not going to impede on their press conference. I'm going to do my own thing, I guess. I mean, if they want to. I will. I don't have that written today, though.
James, 1 minute.
I'm waiting on Harris. I'm still hoping Harrison shows up. There he is. Okay, perfect. Brian. Troy, we good? Brian.
Brian.
Troy, you good? All right, give me a shout when you're ready. Yeah.
Brian Harrison, right over here. Brian Harrison.
Red Rover, Red Rover. Run on over. Yeah, come say a word.
Cassie, you're in the crowd.
Come on up, Brian.
Come on, Brian.
Troy, you ready?
I'm good
We got a hero here.
We good, Troy?
Stuff right here. Trying to move this stuff. It's still
connected? All right.
Thank you for being here and representing us. We need more. You run again? represent somebody that represents me than somebody that doesn't.
All right, everybody over here, can we talk in just a little bit back? I don't want to squish anybody, but I want to make sure we're all in the picture. All right, our friends in the media, is everybody good? All right, my name is James Lasolik. I'm the Communications Director for the Republican Party of Texas. We're going to go ahead and get this press conference started. Our Legislative Priorities Chair, keeping the microphone a little bit lower here for our Legislative Priorities Chair, Jill Glover, who's going to be taking over for this. Okay. Again, my name is James Lasolik. I'm the Communications Director for the Republican Party of Texas. If you need anything, please feel free to ask, and I will turn this over to Jill.
Good afternoon, members of the press. Texas Republicans, good afternoon. I am Jill Glover. I'm the chair of the Legislative Priorities Committee for the Republican Party of Texas, and thank you all for coming today. Thank you so much. You know, while conservatives in Washington, D.C. recently fought for and won historic reforms that bring accountability and transparency to Congress, State House members in Texas just rolled over and played dead. Instead of punishing members who broke quorum last session, the Texas House has chosen to reward them with powerful committees. Instead of addressing the issues important to Texas in open debate, again and again, Speaker Phelan and his cronies, including Democrats and Republicans, silenced dissent with an iron fist, refusing to even allow a vote on Democrats being chairs. The citizens of Texas deserve better than the Austin Uniparty. Upwards of 1,000 Republican voters are here at the Capitol today to make sure their elected officials stay true to their campaign promises and our Republican values. Mr. Speaker, members, these are your constituents. The Republican Party of Texas is not the personal advocacy group of any one individual, and we have always given a voice to grassroots Republican voters, and we will continue to do so. Members, you ignore these constituents at your own peril. I have two statements that I would like to read as well. The first one is from Russ Voigt, president of the Center for Renewing America, former director of the Office of Management and Budget under President Trump, and a man who started his career working for Texas Senator Phil Gramm, which makes him an adopted son of Texas. He said on Twitter, quote, "In Texas, conservatives are fighting to prevent Speaker Dade Phelan and a Republican-controlled Texas legislature from appointing Democrat chairmen that will kill conservative priorities. This is why the Texas House is always all hat and no cattle." Secondly, Republican Party of Texas Chairman Matt Rinaldi said, quote, "Yesterday, the Speaker of the Texas House showed utter contempt for Republican voters by refusing to even allow a vote on whether Democrats should be prohibited from holding powerful leadership positions. The fact that not even 10 Republicans would sign on to a challenge this unlawful ruling is incredibly insulting to the 81% of GOP primary voters who supported the ballot resolution reserving leadership positions to Republicans and the GOP delegates who made banning Democrat chairs a top legislative priority of the party.
That's right.
I would like to thank Tony Tinderholt, Brian Slayton, Nate Schlatzline, Mark DeRazio, Richard Hayes, and Brian Harrison, who were the only members who were willing to force a vote banning Democrat chairs. The Republican Party of Texas will use every tool at its disposal, including Rule 44, to ensure we elect Republicans in the future who won't voluntarily surrender political power to Democrats. From Chairman Matt Rinaldi. Now, I would like to introduce our very first speaker today, Representative Nate Schlatzline.
All right. Hey, first and foremost, can we give it up for every single grassroots conservative that showed up today and showed out? There's one person missing from this list that I actually want to bring attention to, and that's Representative Terry Leo Wilson, who's right there, who said that she would love to attempt to sign that as well. Thank you for your stance, Rep. Terry Leo Wilson. How many of you love Representative Terry Leo Wilson? We love you as well. I also want to say this. Look, there are other conservatives that couldn't be here today because they're headed home to see their family. And I'll say this. I almost didn't make it for the very same reason, because we've got family here. But I would also like to say that yesterday was a tough day. It was a tough day for us because we took a vow to our constituents that we were going to fight against Democrat committee chairs, because the reality is there's no reason that the majority party should be handing power back to people that believe in gender modification for minors, and people do not believe in parental rights and education, and people who believe in perverse values. And I'm going to tell you this right now, we're going to continue to fight. Thank you. We're going to continue to fight. But here's the thing, we're going to have to fight wisely. And we're going to have to understand that there are other legislators in that room that have good intentions as well. And we're going to have to work with them. That's the bottom line. I'm not here to bash other legislators today. I'm here to say that you can trust me to take a stand on the issues that count. Yeah. Today, I want to let you know that we need to take a stand on banning disgusting, perverse gender modification surgeries in the state of Texas. And until that happens, we cannot be silent. You need to get louder and louder and louder. And I'm going to tell you something. Sugar goes a long way, much further than salt does with legislators. And I'm going to tell you, the best method is to call your legislator and ask, will you take a stand on this? How many of you believe that we need to give parental rights back in education? Indoctrination's got to get out of schools. We've got to take a stand and let people know that this is what we're here for. The next generation is going to be defended in the state of Texas. And I believe Texas is still primed to lead the way. How about you? How many of you are grateful for the overturning of Roe v. Wade in the United States of America? I'm grateful that that abortion is not happening here in the state of Texas, except through these pills that are coming in through the mail. And we've got to figure out a way in this legislature to ban these pills, these abortion pills that truly are some of the most inhumane things we could ever do. We've got to find a way in order to regulate this, but more importantly, to educate the next generation that there are resources to keep your child. And that's why I'll be filing a bill that is included into an adoption assistance program to bring down the cost of adoption in the state of Texas. And here's what I would like to tell you. That bill is going to take bipartisan support. And I'm here to tell you that that's okay for us to work with people across the aisle when it comes to issues where we can. And on other issues, we're going to go to war, and you have my commitment on that. And so today, there's a lot of issues we could discuss, but I would like to just implore you once again that today is not about bashing other people. Today is simply about taking a stand. You guys came out today and you exercised your right. And I just want to honor you for a second, because there are millions of Texans who are not here and wish they could be, whether they're working, whether they're taking care of their kids. You guys made a sacrifice today to be here. And there is nothing more special than feeling the weight and the strength of the grassroots behind us. There is nothing greater. We love you. God bless Texas, and God bless the 88th legislative session.
Our next speaker is Representative Richard Hayes.
I want to thank all for coming down here to Austin. I know it's a big time commitment. It's expensive. You're away from your families and your jobs, so thank you very much for doing that. As probably many of you know, my hobby is parliamentary procedure, and I have a different view of things as a parliamentarian than probably you do as individuals. I will tell you that in my humble opinion, Dade Phelan is an excellent speaker. That may not be popular with you, but I'm going to tell you, he is excellent. I voted for him, and I'm going to tell you he's excellent. The other members in the House are excellent. And I'll tell you this, while there were 5 of us that had the ability to sign on, that was kind of fortuitous. I happened to be walking by Slayton, and Slayton had the sheet there to sign on. And if I hadn't been on my way to the restroom, I wouldn't have been able to sign the sheet. It was happening so quickly. So I think what we learned from this is that we have to pre-meet the meeting. We need to figure out what is going to happen. What do we want to happen? What do we think other people want to happen? And then come up with contingencies to deal with that. So it was the first big day. We were in the fight. We got outfought. And so I'm going to take some personal responsibility for that. And I think the other members should take some personal responsibility for that. I appreciate the opportunity to serve you. And I want to tell you this. There were probably, we would have had about 30 votes to ban Democrat chairs. That's my read of the House. With that said, guys, it would take a majority vote to overturn the decision of the chair. So even if the motion had been made, it would not have prevailed. So, you have a parliamentary ruling, you disagree with the ruling of the chair, you appeal from the decision of the chair. I'm not going to defend everybody else. I'm going to tell you, I supported it. I was one of the early people on this. I have worked hard for that. It wasn't in the cards. It's our first session. Think how many times it took us to get constitutional carry, or what we did with abortion in the last session. So we're going to plant a seed. We're going to make about 8,000 votes. Don't kill people over the first couple of votes, guys. And Nate made a very important point, which is we're going to have to work with people. We need them to support my legislation that I'm going to propose, and I need to support some of the legislation they're going to propose. So we're going to work together. This is a relationship industry. So don't kill people, all right? And I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to be your state representative. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Hayes. Our next speaker is Representative Brian Harrison. Good job.
Thank you all. Thank you.
I don't want to kill anybody.
Well, howdy. Guys, the most important thing I'm going to say in this my entire set of remarks, which are going to be brief, are the next two words. Thank you. No, I mean that. There's an infinite number of places or things you could be doing on a beautiful day like today than being here at your nation's capital. This is your building, and every one of us who has a lapel pin on or a title in front of our name needs to never lose sight of the fact that we work for you. The men and women and children of the great state of Texas. And I am so proud to represent so many of you down here in Austin. Regarding what happened yesterday, guys, there's not a lot good to say about that. It is incredibly unfortunate. There is no excuse for that. It does bring to mind a little bit of a question, is what exactly is the point of fighting for election integrity if elected Republicans are just going to turn around and voluntarily give power back to the Democrats? It is past time that this body that I am incredibly humbled and honored to be a part of stops giving a shred of power to a political party that they had not earned from the voters of the great state of Texas. But the main thing we have to do now, as a movement, as patriots, as believers in freedom, as believers in liberty, as believers in the limits of government placed on it by the constitutions, both federally and state, is we need to move forward. Yesterday is in the past. It's unfortunate. And I regret the fact that your voices were not allowed to be heard by your elected representatives on the floor of the House. But that happened, and what I would respectfully implore you to do at this point is let's focus our energy into professionally, respectfully, looking in the forward direction and realizing the battle that we have in front of us, because it is not tongue-in-cheek, it's not trivial, it's not cliche to say that there is nothing less than the future of our entire state and nation on the line. And we have to put all of our energies right now into things that we can control, like doing the job that the federal government has not done and finally secure the southern border of the United States of America. Texas is the first impacted, we're the most impacted, and we've got to stand up and do the job that Joe Biden has refused to do. We have got to protect our children from these disgusting genital mutilation procedures and finally ban gender modification procedures in the state of Texas. We've got to put parents back in control of their children's education. We need to respect bodily autonomy and finally ban COVID vaccine mandates in the great state of Texas. And we need to empower you over the unelected bureaucrats that make up all the state agencies and governed by executive fiat and executive action. And finally, put the legislature back in charge of all laws and executive orders that come out of the state of Texas. Nothing should bind you that you didn't have a chance to vote on through your elected representatives. And finally, in closing, because I know we got to move on, if I could sum up what I am honored and excited to work with you and my colleagues in this body to work for in one sentence. I want to make government as irrelevant to your life as possible so we can be as free as God meant for us to be. God bless you. God bless Texas. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Representative Harrison. Fantastic. Next, Representative Brian Slayton.
Well, after yesterday, it'd almost be hard to believe there's any Republicans in Texas. What in the world's going on? How'd y'all get here? Well, I'm honored to have all of my bosses here today. I hope I get a good report card. Well, yesterday was an interesting day, wasn't it? You know, this building back here is supposed to represent a place where we can have civil discourse, debate, discussion. Ideas can survive and ideas can die. What we saw yesterday is there's one item that's not allowed to be discussed in your Texas House, and that's a Republican Party legislative priority of making sure the majority party is in leadership. That is a no-fly zone in that building. So based on that, do you think your other 7 legislative priorities are welcomed in the Texas House? Oh, but come on. Last session was the most conservative session ever. How could it change so quickly? Well, members, I wasn't going to totally bring all this up. I did want to clarify. When I'm happy to pull up the idea. I remember talking to Representative Hayes back before he was a representative at a GOA meeting, and I appreciate him coming up saying, I want to sign on to your amendment. I wasn't going to turn that in until he signed it. I do want to also tell you, I was walking down the hall, and Representative Schatzline, before we got up to the floor, he was going in the office with a handful of other Freedom Caucus members. I said, hey, I'd love for everybody to sign on to this amendment that wants to. And they said, are you going to let everybody sign on to it? I said, yep, I'm going to let everybody sign on to it. Then I got on the House floor and I said, hey, if you want to sign on to my amendment, I'd love for you to do it. And they said, you're letting other people sign on to it? I said, hell, I'll even let Democrats sign on to it. I wasn't excluding anyone. But the fact is, those that signed it. You know, I talked to the head of the Freedom Caucus to tell them I would love anyone to sign. Of course, even before I got to the floor, I don't know what happened there, but I wanted everyone to sign that. But what we did learn is that we cannot have that debate on the floor, and that is a shame. So there were several things that happened. There were those that signed on, and I'm thankful for those that signed on to that amendment. And those that supported it, but I'm thankful for those that signed on. Then we had the actual amendments we did get a vote on. You know, we had some people that were with us on that. You know, like people that signed on to the amendment was, I guess, we got Representative Tinderholt, Schatzline, Hayes, Toth, and who else? I might be missing somebody, but I was thankful and Brian Harrison, and I appreciate them signing on. Then when it came time to votes, if you could see what happened on the board, when a Democrat had an amendment, it broke down party line, and we barely won. But whenever certain 2 members filed an amendment and actually got a vote on, it was we got creamed, right? But there were some people who held strong with us. I mentioned earlier, Terry Leo Wilson. She was with us. And don't think she's not in trouble for doing that. There were others that voted with us at times. We had Mark D'Orazio over here. He was with us. And Mark signed the amendment before I turned it in as well. I'm sorry, Mark. Forgive me. And then he voted with us. I mean, actually, I'm not sure, but I think D'Orazio and Terry Leo Wilson voted with us more than any other people. I mean, they really did, and you need to thank them. And then we got Carrie Isaac. She was with us. And I'm looking at a quick list here. We got Briscoe Kane and Carrie Isaac. Matt Schaefer. Matt Schaefer voted with us a lot on those amendments on the floor. You should thank him. Those are all different battles, but all equally not allowed. No matter what the fight was. But I just want to say thank you to these members that were with us. I'm trying to go through the list quickly. We got Troxclair. She voted with us. Kane Swanson and Wilson actually voted with us on one of Tony Tinderholtz, and Cody Vasut did. And if I missed anybody, I'm sorry, but there was a lot going on. It was a wild, crazy day. But in spite of what all took place, I'm just thrilled y'all are here. Yeah. And I'm here. I'm happy you're here. Happy. Because when you're treated this way, when the Republican voters are treated with so much disrespect, not by the Democrats, but by their very own Republican elected officials. I understand you're hurt. I understand why you feel discouraged. I understand why you feel angry. But stay in the fight, do the right thing, stay on the high ground, and try to convince them to come to our side. The water's fine, right? And I want to say I appreciate Representative Tinderholt and everything that he's done, the friend he's been. And I'm going to hand it back over to Jill Glover, but thank y'all so much, and y'all stay out of trouble.
Thank you so much, Representative Slayton. And finally, we have Representative Tony Tinderholt.
I cannot believe how many of you came today. Give yourselves a round of applause. Hey, you guys came from all over the state, and I think they knew you were coming and they moved it to yesterday. I will tell you, House Resolution 3 passed. They snuck 5.11 in there at the last minute. They didn't tell us about it, and then they passed it, and they used that for the point of order. And I think that was pretty dirty business. But I'll tell you, there are some other people that I want to make sure get credit. And here's why. I am not providing cover for these people. What I'm telling you, and I think you know I'm not going to provide cover, but as freshmen coming in, there's a lot of chaos happening. A lot of things happening. We asked for people to sign on. We asked for 10 people from the back mic, and then we tweeted out to try to get more people to come. I want to tell you, Terry Leo Wilson tried really hard, and she just couldn't get over there, and I don't think that people knew the process well enough. I want to give her a round of applause for wanting to be on that.
Thank you.
You keep hearing her name today, and I think you're going to keep hearing it because I believe she's going to fight for liberty and freedom. So I'll tell you that I think there are Republicans in that House that are not here with us today that want to do the right thing. But I'll tell you, they can't because they fear the Speaker, and that's why they didn't vote for me, some of them, right? Here's the thing. The Republican Party, we choose to put the R behind our name. We chose to be Republicans because of our value system, because of our ethics. We chose that. And when we put that R behind our name, we chose a process and priorities. And people get elected because of that. You have 8 priorities, and we lost one yesterday. There's going to be 1,000 bills on the House floor estimate that we're voting on. There is no reason we can't make all 7 of those additional ones come to the floor, mix them in, and make sure that because we have an R behind our name and we made a pledge that all 7 of those priorities come to fruition for you. I want to be clear about something. A lot of the people you're looking at today realize we're not the boss. You are. The voter, the lowest level of local control. You're in charge. This is your house. We're your representatives, and we do the things that you ask us to do. But there are people that stand in the way. There are people that stand in the way, and I don't normally do this, but I want to make sure you know yesterday at the front mic, during the fight for banning Democrat chairs. During the point of order, we had a member that walked up and handed point of order information and was working against you. Jeff Leach out of Collin County worked against you. A former member of the Freedom Caucus, and I want you to know that because he helped kill banning Democrat chairs. Now, there are Republicans that were complicit in what happened yesterday, and there were some that I think wanted to pass the bill, and they were new people and they didn't quite know the process. I would ask you to give the freshmen grace. Give them grace. Let's welcome them in and let's help them be successful. I want to say thank you for being here today. It's an absolute honor to be in my 5th session, that the people of my district trust me enough to come here and do this job. And when I quit doing it, it's time for me to stop. I'm not going to play the games that are played in this building. I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to lie. And I am not going to stop the Republican priorities from passing. That's my pledge to you. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Representative Tinderholt. Again, I want to just remind our representatives and our senators that these folks behind me are the ones who block walk for you, they phone bank for you, and they get the Republican vote out for you. Please hear their voices. As chair of the Legislative Priorities Committee of Texas, I want to thank you for coming today. We will work on our legislative priorities all session.
And I would like to say, if we could get a warm round of applause for Jill Glover and all of her hard work. Thank you, Jill. And Matt Rinaldi.
And Chairman Rinaldi would have loved to have been here today. He was unable to come, but I want to thank you all. We will not be taking questions at this time, but we will take individual questions if the press have some afterwards. So thank you all so much for coming. What? You want to pray?